All right. So, welcome back to the second episode of the Chamber Pod. More like our third because
Eh,
we had to record the
The
first
real
one.
second episode of the Chamber Pod.
Yeah, yeah, we had to record the first episode twice because the first one didn't record. Um, I appreciate all those that watched the first episode so far. Um, some really good support. Appreciate it. Um, just to let you guys know, we do have a Patreon up with some membership benefits. Help support us, help support the network. Um, we have some things in the works, different shows, and just stay posted. Um, Charlie, last night's Monday Night Raw, first one I've watched in completion for a very long time. I would say at least a couple months. I usually go back and watch clips, but
Yeah.
I figured since we're doing a wrestling show, I might as well watch the whole thing through. Um, so I was, we started off with Bianca in the ring. Um, Promos, not her strong suit.
No.
So maybe it's the character. I don't know what it is. She goes into that EST promo every single time. It's like a crutch. And she
hmm
just makes words into EST. And I'm starting to not enjoy her promos at all.
She definitely makes up with it with her ring work, but
And
promos.
she has charisma and she's got the smile and she's got the star appeal, but those promos definitely need it's almost and I you know, who am I to say, but it's like she gets really nervous in front of a live crowd.
She does. You see her break character in big time matches all the time, but her emotions just overwhelm her. And like you said, who are we to say? But that's what it comes down to.
It and it's very yin and yang because if you look on the flip side of it, her husband is just a freaking natural.
Charismatic as hell.
It, it you would think, as being husband and wife, I mean, these conversations probably happen. Like Montez is probably like, "Hey, why don't you do this, and that to try to, calm your nerves a little bit." But every time she's solo in the ring, like mic in hand, I, you just see the nerves all over her, and I kind of feel bad. I almost wonder if she was a heel, if she'd be more comfortable. Like eventually, if she went heel, she wouldn't have the nerves because I feel like she goes way and above to appease the fans with her promo work.
I hate saying it this early in someone's career, but I don't know if I could see her as a heel.
Wasn't she a heel in NXT initially?
Was she?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she was.
Mm.
Well, she makes the announcement nonetheless. I guess that I started the show with a hot take. I don't know. It could be a hot take or it could be what everyone thinks and they just don't want to say it. That Bianca definitely gets nervous on the mic. Um, Solo, because as soon as the other woman got into the fray, it was like, oh, cool, I got other people to play off of. I'm
Yeah.
good. Um, Basically, she made the announcement that Ripley, no longer part of Money in the Bank. Um, I can only speculate, and obviously, I'm no insider. I can only speculate that she probably has COVID. Just the way it was all set up, it doesn't seem like it's a long term situation. They probably just
That
want to be careful, and they didn't want to do a rush angle because it's like what 10 days, 13 days to Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
They didn't want her to still have symptoms or not be cleared and have that match still advertised.
That would make the most sense.
So the Fatal 5-Way, I thought was, it was pretty cookie cutter, but it was enjoyable. I kind of figured out of the 5, Carmella was going to win. Because she's the only one that hasn't really mixed it up with Bianca yet, and I think it's too early for Alexa to get involved. And you think that Liv's going to win the Money in the Bank? I would say,
even though Asuka qualified last night,
I would say she's definitely in my top 2 for Money in the Bank.
Who being the other?
Charlotte. I still think Charlotte's going to sneak her way into.
You're putting that out in the universe. I really hate that you're putting that out in the universe, but we'll see.
Well, the way that I think about it is SummerSlam, they want to get as many eyeballs on SummerSlam as humanly possible.
Yeah.
Because it's, they've been doing this for over a decade now. They've been trying to pump SummerSlam into being WrestleMania Part 2. Or Part 3, because now WrestleMania is 2 nights, but they're trying to pump SummerSlam into that big show, and Charlotte Flair is their biggest name in the women's division. She is.
I know.
She's most recognizable. And
on somebody new.
To not have her on the card and not have her in a title match, I think they'd be leaving some on the table.
Please still have her on the card and not win Money in the Bank, and not have her win Money in the Bank.
But who's she going to face at SummerSlam?
She can face Ronda.
Maybe. But it was done at WrestleMania.
When is
the only match that I could see for Charlotte? The only match that I could see for Charlotte is if they get Lita back to do a match with Charlotte.
Okay.
Because that hasn't been done. So that would be a possibility. So Carmella won the Fatal 5-Way. She's gonna go up against Bianca. She's gonna lose.
Yeah, they actually need the body.
I would bet. I mean, I think FanDuel takes bets on on WWE. I would bet your mortgage on Bianca winning that match. We got another appearance by Mr. McMahon. Do you notice no longer the CEO introduction and chairman of the board?
Yeah.
Now it's just Mr. McMahon. I wonder if this is his way of still getting paid while stepping down.
I couldn't tell you.
Because technically, he's an on-screen character, so he's got to get paid for his time.
Yeah.
So maybe these appearances are a way just to make a little bit. I mean, he doesn't need it, just to make a little bit of coin while this investigation goes on. He hypes up next week the greatest superstar of all time. John Cena is coming back. I'm excited to see John Cena back.
Definitely.
I think there's a lot he could do. Obviously, he's probably got limited time, so he's probably only going to work maybe 1 or 2 programs. It looks like it's probably going to be Theory and Cena. That would make the most sense.
Yeah.
As we saw on Raw, you have Bobby Lashley and Theory in a program. I fully expect Theory to walk out of that program still U.S. champion, and I think the rub of beating Lashley will then lead to the jump up to John Cena. Say what you will. I mean, Lashley is a viable opponent. And then
Two-time
the next step, yeah. Then the next step is that program with Cena. It'd be interesting to see what they do. I hope Cena does put Theory over. I would expect him to, especially because he's a part-time. He's not even part-time. He's just an occasional wrestler at this point. In the future of the business, you kind of have to do the right thing. Put Theory over. We had a qualifying. You want to say anything about Mr. McMahon, Theory, Lashley?
Had Mr. McMahon said more than one sentence this time.
There's a bunch of memes apparently of Mr. McMahon jumping down off of the ring, off the steps. I'll probably post that as the thumbnail to the show. We had a Money in the Bank qualifying match. Omos and Riddle. Riddle cut a promo before the match. Basically, the underdog promo. And what I liked about the promo is that it did plant seeds for him and Rollins. So it did tell a story like, oh, I didn't like what you did to my boy Cody, bro. Blah, 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 blah. And kind of called out Seth during the promo. Yeah. Again, Riddle every time in the ring. I just think the guy is really, really good.
He's starting to win me over.
Omos won.
He's definitely starting to win me over.
Omos is getting. You like Omos now?
Oh, I said he's definitely not starting to get me over.
Omos, man, I wish they would have kept him and AJ together longer. It was way too soon to break them up.
But everybody loves breaking up tag teams, so there you go.
He needed that tag team. Like it was too early to have him branch out on his own.
Mm-hmm.
He was good for that hot tag. Let me come in the ring, destroy you. Boom. Right now, the problem is he's having matches against established superstars, right?
And they're not doing anything for him.
And yeah, no, they're not. It's. I'm gonna give you an example. When Ryback was getting his huge push back in 2012, he went up against jobbers for like 6 months. Like purely jobbers.
Yeah.
Squashed them. Right? No one complained. People were into him. At one point, I think he was the number 2 merch seller. He might have even been number 1 at his team. And he just ran through jobbers. Braun Strowman. Right? What happened when Braun Strowman was really hot? He ran through jobbers. Why is Omos in the ring with far less experience than Ryback and Braun Strowman
beating Riddle?
Well, not even beating Riddle. In the ring with established guys this early in his solo career. He is not ready for it. He should have been in that tag team for a long while, or as soon as they split them. They didn't have to have the blowout feud between Styles and Omos. They didn't have to. They could have just had Omos walk away and just start beating jobbers. WWE's done a lot of angles where things became unexplained. We didn't need to have Styles and Omos in a feud. They could have just broke up. And I hate to say it, but MVP's done absolutely nothing for Omos.
No.
I thought that was going to be a great move, but it's actually made him look worse.
The man's a great mouthpiece, but it's just not working with Omos.
No. So Riddle loses. Seth comes down to the ring, basically throws Riddle out of the ring, cuts his little promo. Seth does. And Theory. Riddle gets back into the ring, tries to, jump Seth. Seth gets the upper hand, does the stomp, and gets his one-up on Riddle.
Yep.
I still think Seth wins Money in the Bank. I really loved his promo about when I cashed it in last time. Nothing's going to compare to what I do when I have it now. And that was kind of what I said on the last show, if you remember. He's going to have to do something crazy as a cash-in. That's never been done before.
Yeah.
Are you starting to believe the hype?
I've been saying Seth Rollins since he entered.
Well, it's got to happen at SummerSlam.
It's got to either happen at SummerSlam or Clash of the Castle.
They got the worst names for these shows.
I know. But think about it. If Drew is that next guy, if he cashes in on Drew at Clash of the Castle, that'll be a big FU, you know?
Yeah. It could be. And that could be a pro
SummerSlam, because the sooner the better with Seth, but I don't know.
So I think this is Seth's best work. It could be unpopular to say that, but I think this is his best he's ever been. Some people will argue and say the 2015
Architect
Seth Rollins was the 2014, 2015 Seth Rollins was the best. I think this guy right now is the best. And if MJF doesn't appear again and we get a Seth cash in title run, Seth's probably going to be my pick for Wrestler of the Year. And he's lost more matches than anyone.
Yeah. He is doing... I'll give you he's doing some of the best work of his career now. But I don't know. I've always loved the Architect Seth.
I don't know. His promo work, just his ability to... It's just so good. It's so good.
That's not when he had the world title on one shoulder and the U.S. title on the other. That wasn't an amazing run.
It was. I remember he came out as like the White Ranger.
Yep.
I was a fan of that. That had to be, what was that, at SummerSlam against Cena? Yeah. I mean, it had a great run. I think the black eye of that run, obviously, is the whole him and Sting match at Night of Champions.
Okay.
With the buckle bomb.
Yeah. I dressed up as you on Halloween.
It was just, dude, it's crazy to think that WWE couldn't clear Sting, right? And they were like, hey, dude, you have to retire.
Yeah.
And he goes to AEW and he's doing dives like in the arena through tables.
Uh-huh.
And we couldn't get one WrestleMania match, Sting and Undertaker, for 6 minutes, 7 minutes. Couldn't get one. Couldn't get one.
Sucks.
And if I told you 10 years ago who would be more broken down, like take a poll, The Undertaker or Sting, everyone would have picked Sting.
Of course.
It's insane. But the Marty Jannetty of the Street Profits had a match against Jey Uso. So we had Angelo Dawkins.
It's damn true.
You want to talk about a tag team that needs to break up?
Yes, and I've called this. It needs to happen this year too. I want to see a Montez Ford heel run against Angelo Dawkins.
But this was the perfect opportunity, like, to do it post Mania into Money in the Bank. Like, how awesome would it have been to have Montez in the Money in the Bank ladder match
as a heel, singles
as whatever? Doesn't even matter if he's a heel, a face, a tweener. Just to have him in that match, because he's not getting any younger.
No,
they have to pull the. I look at that dude and I'm like, this
he's
dude's a star.
He has all the star power,
like absolute star. And Angelo Dawkins seems like a nice guy. He's reliable.
And then there's Angelo Dawkins.
But I mean, even Dawkins has to look at Montez Ford and go, man, I'm just thanking the lucky stars I'm still partnered with him.
Yeah.
So I mean, Jey Uso put Dawkins over. They have to do that. They have to build some credence to the possibility of the Street Profits beating the Usos at Money in the Bank. It's not going to happen. I honestly don't know who's going to take the belts off the Usos or Roman at this point.
Let the Usos have them forever. I don't care. I love me some Usos.
You know what's crazy is, like, 8 years ago, when we first started doing content way back when, I think you and I were on the Uso train, and we're like, man, they could be one of the greatest tag teams of all time. We just hope WWE sees it, because when they first started, they were not. They kind of floundered, and then all of a sudden, man, over the last 6 years, right? In my opinion, they're in the top 3, well, at least top 5 conversation. They could be number 1. I really have to go back and just think about it. But, I mean, their run of like 5 or 6 years at the top is probably longer than anyone else's. It's just them and New Day.
Yeah, the New Day and the Usos are like the Hardys and Edge and Christian from 2000.
But those two teams, I mean, they really only had a feud for like 2 years. We're talking about a half a decade of two teams just dominating. Yep. And it's not like they're putting on, cookie cutter matches. We've seen ladder matches, no holds barred, Hell in a Cell, last man standing. There was even that Mania match where it was Bludgeon Brothers, New Day, and the Usos, and it was like, I don't know, 7 or 8 minute match, and obviously the Bludgeon Brothers won that match. But that was an awesome match. Just the way that those two teams sold for the Bludgeon Brothers, I was like, wow. If there's a tag team Hall of Fame, I'm putting both of them in. Without question. But maybe we'll eventually do a rankings style show with tag teams. I'd be interested to hear your list. We've done it before, but obviously it was a long time ago. So obviously things change, opinions change. For me, what I found most entertaining last night, you might be shocked. What do you think I found most entertaining last night?
Most entertaining last night? You. Was it the Elias concert?
Just everything Elias and Kevin Owens.
Okay.
Just sign me up. I mean, this has been going on a while, and I complain about things going on for a while, but they just add layers and layers to
Kevin
this
Owens
story.
had two of the greatest parts ever in that last night.
What was the line about the dinosaur?
He said that could be CGI, that could be anything, and that could be movie tricks. You know what? I went to the movies last week, and you know what I saw? I saw a T-Rex drive a helicopter.
Yeah, dude, they give Kevin Owens anything, and he just smashes it out of the park.
And then him screaming Elrod.
It was good to see the Elias character back. Because obviously, to me, there's always that untapped potential with that character.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think they went as far as they can go with him. But the best thing about this current Ezekiel Elias thing is it just shows the range of the person behind those characters. And I think he's been doing a phenomenal job doing two roles now. Now, apparently, there's another brother, El Rod, right? I thought it was El Rod. I'm like, oh wait, are we going into Scientology? Yeah. So Elias concert, we got the guitar smash. I've been entertained. What do you think, man?
Entertained?
What do you think?
Yes.
As stated previously on this show, I don't know if it was in episode 1 that wasn't recorded or episode 1 that was recorded. Tommaso Ciampa, I feel bad for you, bud.
Jobber to the stars.
Well, it's not. It's like he should literally just be local wrestler from Massachusetts at this point. He should have no entrance. He should have no nothing. Like, he's literally a no one on the main roster. Literally a no one.
He's saying for certain.
They have him basically doing. It looks like he's working for the Miz, sort of, kind of, but
Maybe.
yet, like, the Miz always has a lackey, and the lackey's usually like right behind the Miz. He just seems to be like lurking backstage, and every time the Miz gets in trouble, then he's like, "Yeah, I'm going to defend his honor." I don't know. I would just have Ciampa and the Miz together as a pair.
Yeah.
AJ Styles. I don't feel bad for AJ. It just
first win in God knows how long. So
this man in 2016, 2017 was undoubtedly the best superstar in their roster.
Mm-hmm.
But then after that, it's like, oh, you hear he's getting older. Everything he does is still the same. It's not like his work rate has went down. It's not like his promos have gotten worse. I don't understand why this guy isn't competing for the world title every single year. Why he's got to bounce mid-card, tag team. Like, I get it, he's versatile, but I just think he's so much more than that. I think he should always be a top guy. Like,
he should.
Him and Rollins should be Like, their spot should always be cemented.
That's fair.
Yeah, I want AJ just to have another title run. Like, not a US title, not an Intercontinental title, like Universal title, WWE title. I get it. There's an undisputed championship right now that's going to end. What do you think? Am I off base for just thinking that AJ's kind of squandered like 85% of the roster, 90% of the roster?
He's almost forgotten at this point, but I agree with you. He should be cemented at top with Seth Rollins. It's not imaginable at this point, though, with how far they've let him go, for him to climb back to the top anytime soon.
Do you think it's because they think he's close to retirement, so it's not worth the investment to put a major title on him?
How old is he?
I'm going to say he's around 44.
Could be the case.
There has been retirement talk, I guess, for the last 2 or 3 years. But I don't know. I think with the pandemic and them not really having house shows for, like a year and a half, a lot of the wear and tear on their bodies, they were allowed to recoup. So some of these guys are pretty fresh. Yeah, go ahead.
The most recent deal he signed, though, wasn't it extended quite a bit?
I think he signs like 2 or 3 year deals generally.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just biased because AJ is like one of my favorites of all time.
Could be.
But man, I don't know. I'd just like to see him get the main title, like a main title, one more time. And
it's not even like title runs were bad. His title runs were amazing.
Yeah. Yep. We got a Veer Mahan appearance.
Mm-hmm. I dig him so far.
I dig him. Who's next for him? Do you think he gets the jobber treatment? Do you think he just plows through a bunch of jobbers?
Rey Mysterio. So I don't think that that's the path that they're on with him. I think they're going to hopefully not make the same mistake as Omos. But I don't know who he'd go with next. I guess we'll find out at Money in the Bank.
The main event for Raw last night, Asuka and Becky Lynch.
Solid match.
I mean, it's always good. Those two are always good together. Becky Lynch continues her losing streak. And every time someone like that's on a losing streak, I kind of think they're going to win the title because it's just WWE booking.
WWE brand.
But I would not have her take the belt off of Bianca again because the internet would just be in a freaking uproar. Like, you cannot do that twice.
At SummerSlam?
Yeah.
Imagine if it's the same thing.
I mean, literally.
The internet would tear that apart.
Yes. I hope that doesn't happen. As previously stated, I absolutely cannot stand this chicken shit heel character, which it's got me because that's exactly what they want me to do, is not like her character.
Yep.
But fiscally, I just think it's irresponsible of them to not have her as the main character and milk every single penny of that, because they left a lot of money on the table.
But again, you're getting upset at it, so she's doing her job.
I don't even know where she gets these outfits from.
Like you said off air, female Derek Zoolander.
Yeah. And Seth is Owen Wilson's character. That's reverse. You know what's silly?
What's silly, JML?
Asuka. I would say she's one of the GOAT female competitors, and that's not because I'm saying it. Her peers all revere Asuka, every single one of them. During interviews, Sasha, Charlotte, Becky, Bailey, the list goes on and on. But yet, they give her the ball every so often, and it just seems like they just never ever like fully invest in her. Like there's times where like she was fully healthy for like 3 months and they just kept her on the shelf. How does that happen? How does that happen with Asuka?
They probably want the whole package: promo, wrestling skills, appearance, all that. And she has appearance and wrestling skills, but her promo obviously doesn't carry over well. But I don't know how she could be healthy for 3 months and be unused. That's a sin.
It's definitely something to think about. Overall, if you were to give this a rating or just a recap, solid Raw, good Raw, bad Raw?
I'd say solid Raw.
Okay.
It gave us it gave us lots to look at for Money in the Bank. It did the job that it was supposed to. Plus, Kevin Owens and Elias was magic.
So, are we still on the Money in the Bank kick for Seth winning, right? So we're still on that train.
Seth winning, yep.
For the women's Money in the Bank,
Liv.
I think it's one of two people for me, right? It's either Liv gets it or Charlotte comes back and gets the Money in the Bank.
I hope not.
I mean, I texted you about Liv. I just think every time she goes out there, like it's just a new. It's like she's really trying to get that spot.
Yeah,
and like you could see her determination to be better, and it definitely shows. I mean, if you go back and watch her matches from, the Wyatt, the group with her and Ruby and like she wasn't that great, but then each time she got out there, she's improved. Her promos weren't that great. Her promos are better. I'm not saying they're great, but they're better. The only thing is, if she has Money in the Bank, does that her cash in? Does she cash in to be a heel, or does she keep the face Liv going?
I think that she would cash in for a match, not like a jump somebody cash in. I think she would cash in. I'm number one contender now. Here's my briefcase. I'm facing you for the championship.
Okay. Because I don't know if a heel Liv would be the right direction
No.
to go. Oh yeah. So with Rhea being out for 2 or 3 weeks. Absent on the show, Judgment Day, besides a recap vignette from what happened 2 or 3 weeks ago with Edge.
Horrible booking. They could have at least had Finn and Damian Priest on the Tron for like a couple minutes.
So what I was saying off air, do you think that Rhea is actually kind of the leader of this group, considering that they wouldn't feature those two on TV without her?
It may make sense. Yeah, I wouldn't think that when I first look at the group, but with you saying that, it makes a lot of sense.
And she's the youngest one in the group, and by all accounts, she's the one that WWE has pushed probably the best of the three during their runs. Yeah, I kind of think it as her being the leader of the group. Weren't they even advertising leading up to Raw that there was going to be another member of the group, but then they kind of went away from that?
I'm not sure if they advertised that for this week's Raw, but they did a couple weeks ago when Finn joined.
Okay. I don't think they need another member. I just think they need to roll with these three. And then hopefully we get Balor and Edge at SummerSlam, or we get or
how else would you book Finn?
See, the injury kind of messes up potential booking, as if you did Rhea loses to Bianca at Money in the Bank, right? Then Rhea and Finn have a tag against Edge and Beth at SummerSlam.
I like Finn versus Edge more.
Do you think eventually we might see that tag match?
It could happen. Beth is obviously still in great shape. I could see that match.
Okay.
As for SummerSlam, I definitely want to see Edge and Finn go at it, though.
Cool. And of course, anything that we're talking about, as soon as this video is posted on YouTube, we'd love to see your comments. Breaking news as well, in regards to this show. We were just approved for Apple Podcast.
Awesome.
So I'm going to put all those links in our YouTube channel, in the description box. So we're on Spotify, we're on Apple, we're on Amazon. Obviously, we're on YouTube. We're going to have Twitch streams as well when we do live shows. So we'll be all over the place for this show and the other shows that are going to be on the network as well. We do have a giveaway. The giveaway is probably can't see it because of the background.
Yeah.
Macho Man, Randy Savage, Pop. All we need is 200 subscribers. We're currently around 100. So 100 more subscribers and 300 unique comments on our videos, which means my comments can't add up to 300. You can't comment 300 times. We will do a YouTube comment picker, and whoever wins it, I'll send it out free of charge. Just appreciation for growing the channel. One other thing that I wanted to talk about before we sign off, we had talked about on our last episode was my disappointment with the Forbidden Door pay-per-view, the card. It looks like Bryan Danielson might be cleared to compete. He does have an announcement on Dynamite. So it'll be super interesting to see what role he plays on the show. But adding him to the card would certainly be a huge boost for that pay-per-view. What do you think?
It certainly couldn't hurt it anymore.
No. What would you like to see Danielson do on the card?
My New Japan isn't the greatest. I'm not sure who I'd have him face, but any outing for Bryan Danielson.
Yeah.
Any outing for Bryan Danielson is sure to be good.
There was talk of Zack Sabre Jr., which would be a dream match. So it'd be awesome if we got that. I would almost want him. The Tanahashi Moxley match, I wouldn't mind if they just put that as a triple threat and added Danielson to the match. Now,
Yep.
I don't know how they get there with their ranking system, but I mean, I like Moxley, but I just don't want him being AEW champion, even if it's the interim champion again. And I certainly don't want Tanahashi. I wouldn't mind Danielson being the interim champion, just so that we can have another
Someone new on the list.
Punk Bryan match.
Yeah,
For the the belt for the title would be cool, especially on a Dynamite to pop a rating. I think that would draw more than Moxley and Punk, and it would draw more than Tanahashi and Punk.
but again, they're very strict with their ranking system. So
Yeah, how does he weasel his way into that match?
An AEW yes movement.
They do a walkout. We treated him so unfairly. Yeah, I mean, I think we've covered what we wanted to cover and go over. We'll have a Dynamite recap on the way on Thursday at some point. And we're also recording an episode about the 1993 Royal Rumble. Why the 1993 Royal Rumble? I had this conversation with Charlie about a week ago. We're discussing, underrated Brett matches, Brett the Hitman Hart, and I said 93 Rumble against Razor. And what did you say? That you never saw it or you vaguely remember it? What was that?
I said I have to go back and watch it.
Yeah. So we're going to be reviewing the show, talking about what happened in 93, what differences we see with today's product. So that should be fun. That should be dropping next week. We are recording it this week. We have an NBA, well, I have an NBA draft live stream happening on Thursday night.
Awesome.
So whoever wants to join me, that'd be great. Anyone in chat would help out. And then I'm also recording an episode for a baseball show tomorrow with my friend Frank. So we have plenty of things going before I lose my voice today. Let's wrap this up. Have a good day. Good luck. Good night. Peace.